Hey everybody, thanks for watching this.
Yes, buddy.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Mike and Olive Review Things.
My name's Olive and this is my dad, Mike.
We got back from Disney World in Orlando, Florida just a few weeks ago. We went with our extended family and we stayed there for 4 or 5 days and we went all over the place.
All of them.
And there's something that's really important to talk about if you're going to be taking a family trip to Disney World and going to a bunch of different parks.
And it is transportation.
Transportation. This episode is all about the logistics of getting to your hotel.
And it might be
getting
fast.
to a park and all this kind of stuff. So we took 5 different types of transportation while we were there. So we took the Magic Bus, which is the Magic Bus is you get on it from the airport and it takes you directly to your hotel. Then we were staying at a hotel that had the monorail come to it. So we took the monorail a bunch. Then there's buses. Buses go all over the place. Then we actually got to go on the new Skyliner, which is the gondolas. And then we also took... Gondolas is the actual thing that you sit in. It's like, they're usually made for like ski resorts, so you can get really high up to the top of the mountain.
Oh, I get it now.
And then boat. We also got to take a boat over to Camp Wilderness, so we could go on the, we could do the hoop-de-doo. We're going to do an entire episode just about the hoop-de-doo. So let's start with the Magic Bus. All right, so we get off the plane, and then you just even start seeing signs that are like, Magic Bus, go that way, go that way. And then there's these long lines, and then you already have your bracelet on. Make sure to put your bracelet on and make sure it works and everything, because then you just scan it, and they just point you to the right lane. There were some people that were like pulling out their reservations and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, just give us the bracelet. And so it's really cool. It's really convenient. If you check your bags, they take your bags directly from your airport, your departing airport, and they bring them directly to your room. Yeah. Now, the caveat to that is make sure that you have maybe a change of clothes or some different shoes or socks or whatever if you want to go straight to the parks, because you might not get your bags until much later in the day. So it's not one of those things, but it's really nice and convenient. And I will say, though, it's quite a journey.
Yeah.
So they put on some movies and everything like that, and you get really excited, but then you definitely, like, halfway through, you wane a little bit, and you're like, wait, we're still not there? But that's just what happens.
Time takes forever.
That's just what happens it would take forever no matter which way you went. The other thing about the Magic Bus is that it will make multiple stops at different resorts. And so you got to time that as well. And so we were always at the last resort. So we went to every resort before they dropped us off at ours. But then when you leave to go back to the airport, you have to leave a lot earlier than you would if you were just taking a Lyft or an Uber or something like that. But it is really nice that you can check your bags. They weigh them right there. They can. You don't have to deal with that whatsoever. But then we stopped at every single resort, and it like adds another 40 minutes or something.
We also saw deer.
We also saw deer. What was your grade for the Magic Bus?
My grade is 5.
5. Yeah, when you're a kid, you're not that impressed with a bus, but
I did like that. They gave you like movies, and there was these like kind of laugh things that I think they would do with Donald. I think because Donald's one of the funniest because he's the weirdest.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I think the convenience of it is really nice, but it definitely takes a toll of not being able to be on your own schedule. You have to be on theirs, and they say you have to leave at this time if you're going to go back to the airport. And so it was like waiting around just so you could then get on the bus and wait around some more. But it's good. It's very convenient. It's very nice for people who are coming from, especially out of the country and don't know how to drive or don't want to rent a car or take a Lyft or something like that. It's really nice for the family for sure. All right, next up is the monorail. So the monorail is a really cool thing that Disney World has. It's exactly what it's called. It's a monorail. And I learned a lot about monorails while I was waiting for the monorail, because it's like, why don't we have more monorails? And the reason is you have to build them high up. Like, they have to, like, they can't be on ground level whatsoever. And they're really expensive to build versus like a light rail where they can put train tracks just kind of like on the road. They can make it through a city. And so that's a much more popular option. But the monorail is a very convenient way of getting around the different resorts. And did you like the monorail?
I did, but this is one thing I disliked. Since it was so hot on the monorail, we couldn't take water for some reason. There was this sign that it said no water.
Security now you got to go through before you get on the monorail. And so it's kind of like TSA where you're not allowed to bring certain things. And so, but I will say that then once you actually get to the resort, or not resort, but once you get to the park, well, some parks you had to still go through security and some you didn't. I mean, that's just the world we live in right now. But yeah, I will say the convenience of the monorail is not as convenient as I think it used to be. I think it is hot. It's always packed. People are just sweating. You're really close to people. It's loud. It used to be, I think, a lot more convenient, but now that they've added so many more resorts, and if you're going to Magic Kingdom, it's worth it, and I think Epcot, but you usually have to transfer, and then you have to walk down a really long ramp, and then walk up a really long ramp, and by the end of the day, your feet are just like blistered.
They're like just dead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a 6.
I give it a 6 as well.
Yeah. And I think it used to be something that like you had to do. It was like a really cool experience. But now I think kids aren't really, they're just like, oh, we're sitting in this hot.
But me and Jake, my 9-year-old cousin, we were playing charades. We were like, and that means 10 words.
Okay. We don't need to go into that.
I know.
All right. So next up is the bus.
Oh yeah, we hated the bus.
I'm
so sorry.
The buses need work, man. I mean, Disney World has done an absolutely incredible job of making like every experience magical, except for the buses. The buses, there's nothing magic whatsoever. You wait in a really long line, and then everybody gets on there, and there's like shoving and pushing, and there's usually always somebody that has a scooter, and so they have to get the ramp out, and then you get on, and you're probably standing, and it's hot and sweaty, and it takes forever, and it's just.
They should have a fan in there.
I mean, it's one of those things that the parks are so far away from each other, from the resorts and everything. You have to take a bus, but man, it's not a good experience. So I'm giving it a 2.
I'm giving it a 3.
A 3.
I don't know why.
There's not much there. It's just a necessary thing. We would love to hear some comments if you've had some really good bus experiences. But like when we left Animal Kingdom, we waited at least 30 minutes, and we saw buses for every single resort. And we were staying at a pretty great resort. And the people in front of us were like, we've been here 30 minutes prior to when you got here. So it's just like you have to put that in your schedule. So buses, sorry.
I'm so sorry.
The newest form of transportation, the Skyliner,
is the best.
Is awesome. It's great. You guys may have heard of it. It had an accident like the first week. I think hopefully they're figuring that all out. But the Skyliner is great. You walk up. There was no lines, and I don't know if it's just because people didn't know that it existed yet. But there's no waiting. It's just like there's always one coming, and you just walk, and it's still like moving slowly as you're getting on, and then it just shoots up. It's fun. Somebody was saying, oh, it's hot, there's no air conditioning, but they've done a good job of venting, and so you're high up, and so the wind is coming through. It felt great.
Yeah, it feels so good.
It was awesome at night.
You see the whole entire, maybe all 4 parks, and definitely Hollywood Studio too, since we saw... Yeah, you
can see some of the fireworks at night.
We saw, what was it called that it's your favorite ride?
Tower Terror. Tower Terror looks huge from the air.
We saw Tower of Terror like maybe 3 times, and we weren't in the same place. And we saw the giant ball, which is also called Spaceship Ball.
So I would highly recommend look at a map that has the Skyliner. And if you are up in the air about where you guys are going to stay on your next trip for Disney, stay at one of them that has the Skyliner. I think it's great. It goes directly to Hollywood Studios. I think it goes directly to Epcot. In the back of Epcot, you can get in. There's much shorter lines at the back of Epcot, and you come in like right where like France and England is. Highly recommend it. 9. I give it a 9.
I give it a 9 too.
Good job, Disney. Good job.
It was amazing, and also it had characters on it, and also it was amazing.
All right, and last,
but
boats.
not least,
boats. So we got to take a boat from our resort over to Camp Wilderness, so we could go to
Hoop-de-doo.
the Hoop-de-doo, and just hanging out on the dock waiting is a lot more fun than hanging out at like a bus depot.
Yes, way more
and
fun.
then people, and honestly, the people that work on the boats, I think they're a little bit happier. They get to drive a boat, and so like they welcome you really well, and they'll help you on and all this kind of stuff. And then it's a nice breeze, and the boat you just go across, and it's a fun experience. I think people were having a lot of fun, and coming back afterwards at like 11:30 at night or whatever, people were having so much fun. I don't know. It's a boat. People like boats.
And also, the boat dock was really close to our resort, so we maybe just had to walk only a few steps. Maybe 100.
Yeah, so also the boats don't go everywhere, so I would recommend if you really like that option, take a look at what resorts have the docks. I'm giving that a 9 as well.
I'm giving it a 7.
7? Okay. That makes sense.
Liked it. I did like it.
Yeah.
It's just, if I'm at a different resort, and there might not be a boat there, and I might still want to go on a boat.
Yeah.
And I would have to walk or take the monorail all the way over there.
So, all right. Well, so those are all of the transportation options that we went on. Obviously, we liked a lot, some of them.
Lots of them.
And we disliked some of them. And I think that's probably pretty accurate. But hopefully you guys can use this when you're booking your next trip and understand, okay, do we have to take a bus? Do we have to take a monorail? Can we take a boat? Can we take the Skyliner? Hopefully we gave you some good options and some good information. So thanks for watching this episode of Mike and Olive Review Things.
Bye!
See ya!
See ya. Are we gonna do